The reaction to Hunter Biden's conviction is sickening. In expected fashion, the left is saddened and screaming unfair over Hunter's conviction for making false statements to buy a gun.
So, Ty, can you believe Hunter Biden gets convicted on all counts by a jury in a case brought originally by a special counsel who Trump had, initially appointed as a U.S. attorney, and somehow it's not fair and square.
Contrast this with the applauding and laughter at Trump's conviction on a manufactured crime in New York City. It's hypocrisy on steroids.
Donald Trump is found guilty on all 34 criminal charges against him by a New York jury, officially making him a felon. The jury deliberated for more than 9 hours before finding the former president guilty of falsifying business records in a scheme to illegally influence the 2016 election.
I spent this morning speaking to someone from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. They're called street fighters. He believes that they will recommend a 1-year term in prison. And that is because when you spend a year in prison in New York or under, you serve in Rikers Island. Okay? Also, I did some research.
Right.
The other thing I'd like to say is the other reason that they will do this is because he has shown an utter disregard for our institutions. Yes. And prosecutors, when you are recommending a sentence, you are not just recommending a sentence so that they can be rehabilitated or so that they can be punished. You're sending a message to the community that this is not going to happen again. Right. This is not okay.
The left-wingers are always yammering for strict enforcement of gun laws. Except when it comes to Hunter Biden, of course. They even suggest that a commutation of sentence and a pardon for the crack-smoking Hunter Biden would be the humane thing to do. What about the other drug addicts who committed crimes? I forgot. They are not part of the Biden crime family. Everyone else can go to hell.
Now, I will say one thing that is very interesting here. While Donald Trump has not seemed sympathetic at all about Hunter Biden's addiction issues, he himself has come from a family that had addiction issues and has talked openly about it. So interesting there that he has. One of the things we've talked about is how many Americans find this case to be sympathetic in some ways. Donald Trump himself does not seem to be one of them.
Next is an admission that making false statements when purchasing a gun is a pseudo-crime that doesn't merit prison time. That is correct, because all the federal gun possession laws are pseudo-crimes. They violate the Second and the 10th Amendment.
Meanwhile, lawmakers and the media had a lot to say about the verdict. Republican Representative Thomas Massie tweeted this quote, "Hunter might deserve to be in jail for something, but purchasing a gun is not it. There are millions of marijuana users who own guns in this country, and none of them should be in jail for purchasing or possessing a firearm against current laws."
I explained in my previous writings that the federal government has no authority whatsoever over firearm purchases or possession within the states. All such laws infringe on our right to self-defense and our collective right to throw off a tyrannical government. I have written about this extensively and covered it in my book, Ban Assault Bananas. Nevertheless, Hunter's case involved lying on the government's 4473 form that he was not a drug addict. Everyone knows these forms came about with the Gun Control Act of 1968, after the assassination of Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King. This form, and the more recent Brady bills, violate the Second Amendment and the 10th Amendment in the Bill of Rights. The federal government has no authority to decide who can own a firearm. That is why the Second Amendment is there. And the 10th Amendment says the government has no power except that which is delegated and enumerated in the Constitution. I recently got into a mild argument with someone who insisted that drug addicts and felons should not own firearms. But there is nothing in the Constitution that says they can't. To not be allowed the right to defend your life is to say you have no right to life. It is patently absurd. I patiently explained to my friend that neither the 4473 purchase forms nor the Brady bills prevent anyone from acquiring a firearm. They didn't stop Hunter Biden. These forms only apply to purchases from a federally licensed firearm dealer. Anyone can purchase a firearm from an individual without filling out a 4473 form and without a background check. However, Biden is trying to make individuals and family members also subject to these unconstitutional restrictions in order to create a registry of gun owners for future confiscation. As for the unconstitutional Brady bills, the proponents constantly brag about how many drug addicts, felons, and other restricted folks were blocked from buying a firearm. It is meaningless horse hockey, otherwise known as bullshit. The criminals will get another gun by stealing one or making one. And who is to say that all those people who were denied a purchase would have misused it? Who is to say they don't already have a dozen other firearms in their possession? Government tyranny thrives only by propaganda, theft, and deceit. It is obvious the government is engaged in registering every firearm owner for eventual confiscation. Remember former U.S. Representative Beto O'Rourke blathering like a fool, saying, "Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. Remember the firearm confiscation that happened in Australia after the citizens registered their firearms? Years ago, I spoke to an attorney from Australia who told me that the real Crocodile Dundee refused to surrender his firearm. Thankfully, he was only wounded and survived a shootout with the police. I asked him why the citizens registered and surrendered their firearms. He said it was because Australia doesn't have the gun culture that we have in America. Thank God we do. It is our last bulwark against the ongoing tyranny we now suffer and what is planned for us in the immediate future. As an aside, Trump said he would pardon Hunter after he became president on the grounds his conviction violates the Second Amendment. I just sent Trump an email asking why he doesn't issue a blanket pardon of everyone convicted of federal firearm violations. Why is it only Hunter Biden?